How are y'all?
I'm really good. Brooke,
Good.
my name is Pace Morby. I'm a real estate buyer. I buy real estate all over the country.
Okay,
And
great.
I was interfaced with Ryan just as a referral, just talking about a potential opportunity to buy your house. And I said, I'd love to have a conversation. I think I understand the situation all the way. You guys are wanting to go to a different part of the city, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where are you guys moving to?
Probably the Sugarland area.
Oh, I love Sugarland. There's the best
Yeah?
restaurant in all of Houston is in Sugarland. It's called Aga's. And I fly, like if I'm flying to Florida, I will stop in Houston just to go to Aga's, and it's right in Sugarland.
No
I love
way.
it. Yeah, it's that good of a
That's
place.
amazing.
Yeah. Can
Yeah,
you
I
see
love
me,
the
by the way?
area. No, I can't. I joined him on my phone. I'm at an event right now for work, but I was like, I need to take this meeting, so I'm on my
Okay,
phone.
no problem. Then I'll make it really quick because you got work stuff going on. So the reason I do Zooms a lot of times is because I want you to be able to see me, that I'm a real human being. Because what I'm going to offer you guys is me taking over the existing payments.
Okay.
And whenever you're having that conversation, you need to make sure that your buyer, which would be me in this situation, is credible enough to take over those payments and never cause you future grief or issues, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So that's why I offered, hey, let's do a Zoom so she can see me and she can get to know me, et cetera.
More of a personal level because it's a very interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So it's non-traditional real estate. I've done a little over 3,000 of these transactions. I have 2,000 of them currently in my portfolio. Just for you to understand the advantage for a buyer. You are kind of in a disadvantage right now because the time when you bought your house, the current situation in the market, right? Market's trending downwards. And we also had an interest rate increase today. We're going to have another interest rate increase in February. So it's only going to continue to trend downward. It doesn't mean we're in a crash. I'm not trying to like say, hey, the whole world is on fire. I'm just saying the obvious, right? The market is trending downward and it's challenging to sell. So the advantage for a buyer like me is I look at your house and I say, Brooke has already secured the financing for me, right? The equity is not important to me. There obviously is. I don't believe there is any equity in this situation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So like, I don't care about equity, right? What I care about is my ability to cash flow without having to go out and secure new debt. That's the main advantage for me as a buyer. I know that in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, the market will trend back upwards after, the next probably 24 months, it'll trend downwards. So for me, it's a long play, right? I will make my money on year 5, year 6, year 7, et cetera. And the velocity of money is really important to me, which means from a buyer standpoint, I can go buy multiple properties very quickly utilizing subject to, which is the name of this type of transaction, versus if I go into a traditional transaction, it takes 90 days to 120 days to go get one loan, versus in that same one time and the same amount of cash, I can go buy 12 properties subject to while I bought one traditionally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So huge advantage for me, right? So I get excited about these types of deals. This is actually the only way I buy real estate. I don't buy real estate with cash. I don't go to banks anymore. I haven't been to a bank in over 7 years to buy a property. I always go to sellers this exact way, which is why people reach out to me, because they kind of know that that's what I do.
Okay.
So I tell you all of that to say, hey, what do we need to do to move forward? What questions do you have? What concerns do you have to maybe open up a short dialogue before you got to go?
I mean, my question is just kind of around this whole like non-traditional form of real estate anyways. And I know Ryan and I talked about that a little bit. When you do these, is there ever a point where you do transfer the loan into like the name of your company or organization or however that works? Or
Never.
Is it always like for the duration of the whole, I guess, let's say 30-year mortgage, like is in the
Great question.
The seller's name.
Great question. So a couple of things there. And where that question's coming from is you're basically in the back of your mind, you're saying, I get the benefit to me right now as a seller, but like in 3 or 4 years, is there any way you can take this loan out of my name? Because I really think that that's going to be a nuisance. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Exactly.
Cool. So you can tell I've been doing this a long time. So here's what I find. Number one, there's pain and anguish a little bit with the house right now. It's like, I'd like to just kind of be done with the house. And it's like breaking up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend and leaving like your favorite pair of jeans at their house. It's like we're broken up, but I still have something lingering. I really wish I could get that pair of jeans back. It's kind of that feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know that's a weird analogy, but you know what I'm saying.
No, it makes sense.
That's how people assume it's going to be, is they think, oh, well, in 2 years or 3 years. I can tell you, every time I go through one of these transactions, my sellers forget about it entirely. And then they go to buy another house. And what my payments on that mortgage have done for that seller have actually amplified their credit score. And they go, man, I'm really glad that they didn't take that mortgage out of my name. It changes dramatically the mindset because you're no longer in the situation you're currently in. Now,
Okay.
I say all of that to say that the average time I keep one of these houses in my portfolio, the mortgage is in your name, the deed is in my name, right? I'm the owner, except you essentially have co-signed for me is the way you should look at it.
Okay.
The average amount of time that I utilize that cosign or me utilizing your existing loan is about 7 years.
Okay.
My contract states I'm never going to remove it from your name because I want to have clear expectations and I don't want you to ever feel like I lied to you. But our average time, sometimes it's 3 years, sometimes it's 9 years, but our average is somewhere just shy of 7 years.
Okay. So that's just when like you totally take it over completely. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we'll do one of three things, okay? We will either A, refinance the property with a new loan, right? Because your interest rate, this is not me being critical, I'm just trying to go quick. Your interest rate is not that great of an interest rate. What is it again?
Yeah, 4.75, I think.
Cool. So let's say that interest rates in 24 months curve down and they go to like a 4.25. I will usually go and refinance you out, but keep the house.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that's situation one, and that could happen in 24 months.
Okay.
Another thing that I do a lot of times is I'll sell the property. I'll go, I don't like this. It's causing issues. It's not cash flowing like I thought it was. And I'll sell it. And when I sell it, my buyer will come in with money and pay off your loan. It's legally required for them to do that in order for them to buy that house. They have to pay off your loan. And that could be 12 months. That could be 5 years. I don't know. Right. Okay. Or what we'll do a lot of times is I'll sell a big apartment complex and I'll get a windfall of cash and I'll utilize that cash to go around and pay off single family homes that I still have existing debt on. So those are the three scenarios that I typically wipe out your name off of the mortgage.
Okay. That makes sense. I feel like I just had another question and I don't know what happened to it.
Can I tell you the questions you probably need to know?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So if I'm taking over your house subject to, which means I'm keeping the loan in your name, deed goes into my name, right? I'm in charge of the property. If I have tenants in the property and there's a problem with the toilet, do they call you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They do not call you. They call me. I'm the owner, right?
Okay.
The tenant wouldn't even know that you're involved in the transaction. Your name's nowhere on the house at all. Who's in charge?
Sorry to interrupt you, Pace. That's what Brooke had concerns about yesterday too. Like, hey, if I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, like how's the liability?
If something happens to the house? Yeah.
Great question. This is why I do a Zoom with sellers, is because I want you to see me. Like if you could see me, I would normally show you my bank balance. I would show you how many houses I own. I would show you my credibility instead of just tell it to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so for you need to make a decision to sell your house to somebody who's credible, because I'll tell you something, as you probably know and can assume, tenants will damage your property, right? They will 100% damage your property, and you have to sell this property to an operator, somebody like me, who has the wherewithal, the team. I have asset managers, we have property managers, we have cash in the bank, we have all the things, and we've been operating thousands of units for a very long time. So one house is like nothing to us. It's like putting on a pair of pants, right? It's easy.
Right.
My credibility and my track history is the thing that protects you from worrying about this house being taken care of, because I can tell you, I'm going to replace the carpet every 18 months. I'm going to repair the drywall every 18 months. I'm going to have to repaint things. I'm going to have to change fixtures. Last thing you want to do is ever even think about that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So yes, those things will happen. There is issues there. That's my job because I'll be the owner. I would say the biggest issue you need to worry about is something called the due on sale clause. So if I transfer the deed into my name, which means we go to a title company, this is all legal. It's been done for 100 years. We go to a closing attorney. We'll go through, there's a lady named Allison Tipton that we'll use. She's a closing attorney in San Antonio.
Okay.
She'll do the transaction. I'll get title insurance on this transaction, which means that we guarantee the paperwork was done properly, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Even after all of that, the bank, who's the name of your bank?
Like my home bank?
Who do you pay your mortgage payment to? Chase. Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
So it's Chase?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's say Chase finds out a year later, 5 years later, 7 years later, hey, Brooke sold this house to somebody, but the debt that is in her name didn't get paid off. What do? Okay. They send me a letter. It's called the due on sale or the acceleration clause. And they go, hey, Pace, that's my name. Hey, Pace, you bought this house from Brooke and you did not pay off her mortgage. We're giving you 90 days to pay off her mortgage. Okay. That's what we call the due on sale clause. Okay.
Okay.
We have done thousands of transactions. It does happen. We've had 5 due on sale clause happen to us. It's probably 1 in 1,000 transactions. It does happen.
Okay.
And in the event that that does happen, then we have things that we do. We either sell the house, we pay the house off cash, we refinance the house. We do a variety of different things to avoid that. And it's never been an issue, but it does pop up, and it's something that you have to be aware of that could possibly pop up.
Okay.
It doesn't damage your credit, doesn't hurt you. They don't come after you. Nobody's suing you. There's no legal issue. We didn't break a law. It's just them saying, hey, we see you bought your house subject to, which is perfectly legal. But the way we wrote our loan documents is it states that we have the right, not the obligation. We have the right as the bank to come and demand that you pay us off within 90 days.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I would say that is the biggest issue you have to worry about when you have a credible buyer. When you don't have a credible buyer, the biggest issue you have to worry about when you sell this way is, am I ever going to have to worry about this house ever again? And if you have a credible buyer, you'll forget that you have this house, and in 7 years you'll go, oh man, whatever happened to that house? And you'll pull it up on your credit, and it'll show as a mortgage in good standing. Another really good thing, and I'll shut up and either you can go or maybe you have another question. But another good question that I always tell sellers you need to ask is, how do I know my payment is being made every month? Because I'm not going to make the payment to you and then you go down to the bank. That's a hassle for you.
Right.
So what we do is we hire a company. There's about 400 of these companies in the United States. That should show you how common this is. We hire a company that does what is called loan servicing. What they do is they pull money out of my account. And this is also why I wanted to do a Zoom with you, so I could show you what this looks like. Like, I get the emails, my sellers get the emails. Everybody gets the email every month of, hey, just so you know, insurance has been paid, mortgage has been paid. And we typically make the payment on the mortgage and the insurance about 5 to 7 days before it's due. So you are fully aware. If you decide to do so, you can elect to get the email notification once a month to say, okay, cool, the payment was made.
Like, just for peace of mind.
Yeah, just peace of mind. That's it.
Okay.
And the money doesn't come out of my bank account and then goes into yours, and then I have to rely on you to go make the payment. Westar is the name of the company I use. It's called Westar Loan Servicing. And they pull the money out of my account and then they service your loan. They are a licensed third party to literally do this exact type of transaction.
Makes sense.
What am I going to do with the house? A lot of times sellers will want to know, well, what are you going to do with the house? I'm curious because they want to paint a picture. Usually I do a long-term rental. Sometimes I'll do like traveling nurses, where I'll have traveling nurses stay there for 6 to 9 months, something like that. We used to do Airbnbs, but Airbnbs are just problematic, and I don't like having to call a cleaning crew 3 times a week. And with a traveling nurse, they're typically educated people. They're there for work. They keep to themselves. They pay it. And that's the challenge with yours, is your interest rate is not great. It's not horrible, but it's not great. So your payment's on a little bit on the higher side that I have to take over. So I can't just do a regular rental and actually cash flow. Well, I have to do amplified cash flow, which would be a midterm rental, which is traveling nurses, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I would probably do traveling nurses, or I would do, and it comes with its own management issues and all that kind of stuff, but that's what we do for a living. That's the only thing I do is real estate investing. So sometimes we'll do like airline pilots as well. We'll go to the airlines and we'll work out an agreement with them where they'll let their airline pilots, instead of staying at a hotel, let's say there's a layover, and Houston has a huge airport, obviously. So let's say that Houston, but yours is far away. Your house is really far away from the Houston airport. So that's probably not a good opportunity.
It's like 40 minutes-ish.
Yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah. I don't think they're going to have their pilots go down 40 minutes to your house. So another really good thing that we'll do a lot of times is we will do insurance agreements. So we'll go to an insurance company where, let's say, another family in their home has been displaced because of a fire, a water damage thing, some sort of flood in their house, whatever. And then the insurance company calls me and goes, hey, do you have a house available? I need to have, like, I have one in Sugar Land. I have one in Katy. I have one in this little area. I don't know what people say it's not Houston, but it's right by the airport. It's Humble, Texas.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar.
So I have 2 properties in Humble, Texas that are really big, and we
nice.
use those for insurance claims. So an insurance company will call us and go, what properties do you have available? We need to book 6 months in your property, and they pay for their client who's currently going through an insurance claim to stay in my property.
Okay, cool.
Anything else that I could help answer or make you feel more comfortable with any of this?
One of the things that
Right.
we wanted to bring up was, hey, what if she wants to buy in 2 years? What if she wants to buy in 3 years?
Super easy. You could buy in 3 months. Okay. So this mortgage is going to be on your DTI, or your debt to income ratio, that your lender is going to look at. It's a great question, by the way. So what I can do is I can have you talk to one of my lenders, and one of our lenders goes through. I used to be a licensed a loan officer. So I used to do this for people well before I was even a real estate investor. We prove that the payments are being serviced by a licensed third party, and your loan officer will wipe out the payments, 100% of the payments, off your DTI, as you have shown them that somebody else is making the payments through a licensed third party.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to be a big issue, but it's yeah, we've had 400 deals where sellers have that as a concern. They go and buy properties in the future, and they go, I thought it was going to be an issue. It wasn't an issue at all, and we help them get through it.
Okay, great.
What else you got for me?
Those were the bulk of my questions. I think, Ryan, did he miss anything? Seems like the bulk of what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. If she wanted to buy a home in Sugar Land after she moves or whatever, how do we go about that? So that clears that up.
The cool thing too, Brooke, is that the only thing I do is I only buy houses subject to and seller finance, which is good, because what'll happen is if you go back to Ryan, you go, hey, Ryan, I'm ready to buy another house, which I'm sure you will. Here's the cool thing. Can I tell you something about Ryan? I don't know Ryan, but I can tell you right now, the real estate market is going through an incredible, tumultuous situation. Real estate agents are having a really hard time selling houses. Buyers are freaking out. The days on market have climbed. I mean, you guys are experiencing it to a certain degree. It doesn't matter how many times you drop your price. People are like, well, what am I going to do? Go to 7% interest rate on this house? It doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
Ryan, I got to give you a compliment. Going out and finding somebody like me that will buy via subject to is an incredible real estate agent. Most real estate agents would have abandoned you and said, I can't help you, right? And you would have been sitting here saying, what do I do? When you're ready to buy another house, go back to Ryan, and Ryan can come to me and say, hey, what do you have subject to seller finance? I get houses at sometimes 2% interest, 3% interest that I can't buy because I typically only buy one house a week. So let's say I get 3 houses in a week. I have to say no to 2 of those. And the reason for that is I have to furnish them. I have to get the carpet going. I have to clean them up. I have to get things done. I have to go through title. All of those things take time and onboarding. So a lot of times I'll say no to them, and I will give them to real estate agents that I work with, and they give those houses to their clients. So you can get 2%, 3%, whatever interest rate sometimes when you just kind of work inside my network.
Awesome. Well, hey, I actually just got my carpets deep cleaned, so you're out of the clear with this one.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So what I'll do with Ryan, if you're comfortable with it, I'll send over paperwork to Ryan, and you guys can take a look at it. If there's more questions, let me know. I think that there's another party interested. Perfectly fine. If you guys decide to go with the other people, no big deal. Let me know in the future if you need to buy a house, and I'll still work with Ryan on other things. But when you go through my paperwork, right, you go through the agreement, have Ryan send me any questions or anything he wants to change, anything that he has as a curiosity, but read the document. Don't just sign it. Read the document and let me know what questions you guys have.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooke, for taking the time. Ryan, thank you so much for this Zoom call. I appreciate it.